we move on to our third subject tonight, Mark? What is that?
Okay, well, Wisconsin,
Wisconsin. You're talking about Scott Walker territory.
Scott Walker. Now, the Supreme Court got all upset just because, you know...
I mean the Supreme Court in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Supreme Court of Wisconsin's got all upset just because this DA, John Chisholm, I don't know if it's from the Chisholm Trail. From the Chisholm Trail, was doing a secret prosecution.
A secret prosecution?
Whoa, it's kind of like,
what's his job title?
remember like Animal House, it's like double secret probation. So
double secret probation.
Apparently anybody who got along with Walker or worked with Scott Walker was on double secret probation.
But did they know that?
Well, I guess they didn't know that till they had like paramilitary raids on their house, and they went through their accounts, and they looked through all their associates, and all the aides of Walker were kind of shaken down and that kind of thing. And also there was a special prosecutor, Francis Schmitz, that was involved in this. And so what these guys are, they're government employees, and I think we talked about collective bargaining, right? We talked about how the money moves around in collective bargaining, like, I hire you to hire me, and we just kind of take taxpayer money and pay each other a raise every 10 seconds or so.
Right. And that way, as long as I keep hiring you, I'll pay you more.
Yeah. So it's a kickback scheme. And so collective bargaining and the unions and the mafia are all one thing, and the government is all part of this kind of mafia union kickback scheme. And so these people are very entitled. They don't want to ever have to actually work for a living. So what Walker said is like, we want to end collective bargaining. In other words, you can't use taxpayer money to fund campaigns, right? And so that was what happened. He took out. And
well, so if he's taking away taxpayer money, you're actually talking about the monies that are paid by the governments to the teachers' union. They can't use that money to run political campaigns. Is that what you're saying?
See, what happened is used to be the taxpayer money went to the union, and part of that money, and you had to be in the union to have a government job, and you had to pay union dues, and part of that union dues went to hire a governor or wherever, bribe a governor or whatever you want to call it, basically pay off a government to give the union a raise. And it was a cyclic thing where taxpayer money was to make sure that no person who worked for a living ever would have any influence on the government.
Well, you know, the only problem with that is that I know Scott Walker came in and into Wisconsin,
and he took a beating.
He took a beating, and they tried to throw him out of office, but he won.
No, they tried to impeach him. They brought the Supreme Court against him. They did everything. And then when that didn't work, they did these secret prosecutions,
looking for evidence.
They did the midnight raids. They intimidated people. They indicted them. They did this. So they pretty much pulled every trick in the book, you know, to try to make sure that they never would have to work it again for a living. And you've got to understand that, you know, this is a big class of our country. There's 20% of the country who are basically like prison guards. They're the government employees. They've never worked. They never will work. If they didn't have a government job, they starve because they'd never make that kind of money in private enterprise. And they feel entitled, and they're willing to go to great lengths
to protect their entitlement,
to protect their protected position or their special positions. And the abolition of free speech and the vote, that's nothing to them. You know, the justice system was used to punish political opponents, and most of the tax money you pay is embezzled, and what's not embezzled, it's used to crush any
opposition.
Well, not only crush any opposition, but any entrepreneurship. You know, they don't want you starting a business or doing anything. They want everybody on welfare, bowing to the government, you know, and either working for the government or bowing to the government. They don't want any entrepreneurship. They don't want any private enterprise. All those things are considered bad because those might upset the apple cart where they get all the apples and the few little crumbs that fall down to the peasants, which are the citizens and the taxpayers. Those little crumbs that fall off the table, you know, they don't want to have to give them a whole slice of apple, you know. So,
yeah, well, that's unfortunate. But see, that's also is represented in the demise of unions across the country. They've been union membership has been dropping dramatically.
Well, but not in the government.
Not in the government.
That's the
only union that's growing is like the SEIU and the things that are all government agency type groups. And funny enough, that's interesting how
they're the ones that are they're the last bastion of basically
unionism.
Well, it's really a feudal system, right? They're warlords. They're like petty warlords, and there's different fiefdoms, right? They extract conscription and taxes and slave labor from the peasants, and then they live this life of luxury. And so it's actually a feudal system.
Well, the problem with that is that once again, as we talked about the collective bargaining, it comes back to the idea that you elect me and I'm going to give you more. So the only collective bargaining is together we're making a deal that you put me in power and I'll give you more money.
Well, like I said, it harks back to, petty warlords. And that's pretty much what we used to have a constitutional republic. Now, people said this is democracy. It was not designed as democracy.
It was never designed as democracy.
Okay, and the thing about a democracy is basically mob rule. I mean, if you have 5 guys that want one person's food, they kill him and take his food. In a republic, everyone's supposed to be treated equally under the law. Everyone has equal rights. So a republic is a much more sophisticated system than a democracy. If you have a pirate ship, that's a democracy, right? If you have a republic, everyone has equal treatment under the law and they have rights. So minorities have rights. So we have shifted into more of a social democracy. And each of these little federal agencies have become their little fiefdoms, and they have little warlords in charge of that. And they extract tribute from people, like a Hillary running around and doing front for her. Then when her husband comes, they give him $5 million. She makes a deal as Secretary of State, and he shows up, and then they pay him under the table or for a speech.
No, it's
$50 million.
It's for his foundation.
Yeah, for his foundation, right?
Don't forget, this is a beneficial foundation.
Yeah, the benefit for the Clintons. Yeah, and I think they give 2% to that.
No, they spend 5% for the needy.
Well, they have
They only keep 95%. Come on, you got to give them the credit where credit is due.
They do give 5% away, but then with the tax savings, they're actually pulling in more. But anyway, no, they are.
They are.
They're paying much more because then they're not paying their earned income on that. So
well, wait a minute.
basically,
Didn't we cover that on our last show where they forgot to pay $200 million? They forgot to report just off the books.
That was a bribe from the Russians.
And that was a bribe from the Russians in Canada.
Yeah,
that's
but
right.
Canada doesn't count. Okay.
Yeah, Canada.
But I mean, the thing they did in Haiti and everything like that, that's like it's a ghost town. It was supposed to be the newest thing.
The newest thing.
But they did get a cell phone contract and a couple things like that. So I mean,
didn't they give that to Singapore Slim out of Mexico?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and so that's the way it works. You've got these petty warlords, and I think Clintons are a good example of a good petty little warlord. They go around extract tribute from their peasants, and people bow down to the queen, and if you don't do what you say, you get a Vince Foster or a Ted Stevens. They
get out of the way.
You either go fishing, or
you don't come back from an airplane ride.
Yeah, you're right. You go fishing, or you fall into the fountain after you accidentally shoot yourself with a wrong caliber, whatever.
With a gun that you can't even find.
So those things are how it's running now. So, but the Supreme Court did stand up for this. I'm pretty proud of them. In this day and age, I'm really shocked that a Supreme Court has the nerve to do that.
So let's go back to the beginning. So the Supreme Court of Wisconsin stood up and told the prosecutors,
you can't do that.
You can't do this because, number one, it's warrantless search, and so you're protected under the Fourth Amendment. It's freedom of speech, protected under the First Amendment. And instead, the prosecutor, what did he say? Did they stop doing paramilitary raids of Scott Walker's aides and supporters?
Well, I think they put an end to those. They put an end to those things, but those were going on for some time. This is going on for 4 or 5 years.
Nonstop. And what was interesting was this was reported. It wasn't anecdotal that was happening. They were having paramilitary raids on the aides of Scott Walker, where they'd be coming in pre-dawn, kicking the door open, shooting the dog, or whatever's going on, but they're armed with heavy weaponry, and they're taking computers out, ledgers out, as though somehow Scott Walker's aides were running a RICO criminal organization instead of being campaign.
Well, I mean, I think that is pretty much true, that if someone wants to upset the this kind of government what do you call it? Feeding at the trough. If someone wants it, that is considered, the most terrible thing to these folks, because my God, they might have to go out and get a job.
You mean they might have to work?
Yeah, they might have to work, for a living.
Yeah, if you don't, I mean, wait a minute. I don't know about you, Mark, but I know every day I have to get up and go out for a job.
You're a sucker.
Yeah, but I'm a sucker. But aren't we part of like the 10-15% of the people that actually work?
We're the ones that have to breaking the rocks.
We're breaking the rocks.
Hey, you break rocks faster, and stop complaining.
Stop complaining.
Break some rocks.
Yeah, maybe we'll give you another cup of water if you break another couple of rocks.
So I was impressed with the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and also.
But wait a minute, I have a question though. Is the district attorney appealing this to the circuit, the next circuit, the Court of Appeals?
I'm not sure where this is going. I'm not sure if I don't know if that was the kind of action this was. I think it was more like a restraining order against them.
Oh, a restraining order.
Or they struck down the investigation. I mean, I think maybe tomorrow we could start up a new secret investigation with a new reason.
Okay, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we wait and see how this plays out?
It's probably like those whack-a-moles, you know?
Yeah, well, we'll see how this whack-a-mole plays out. And I want to thank you for joining us tonight with Law Talk. And I will tell you, Mark, it's been very enjoyable.
And the thing is, it's surprising how many of these things are flying around.
I don't know.